Hello, I'm Ricky Sanchez.
I'm Kevin Jacobsen.
And you're watching Inside Rockland.
What is Inside Rockland?
It's a local show that will highlight the different aspects of the community.
From news and politics
to helping the county find missing children and help lock up Rockland's most wanted.
And getting your reactions and opinions with our Word on the Street segment.
Any meeting of this magnitude is official, should have been published in the paper.
We all should know what's going on. It should not be held behind closed-door meetings. This is something for the public to know
The only
about.
complaint I've ever had about Ginsburg's organization is that they don't get the word out to the public of what's going on.
But for me to sit here and believe that they didn't have the wherewithal to get flyers out and let people in the community know that this was happening, I'm sorry, but I'm not believing that.
GDC is truly working on a narrow profit margin. There is no reason why the true finances of the project cannot be disclosed.
Tonight, another public meeting is being held here at the Community Center in Haverstraw of the waterfront project between Ginsburg and the village of Haverstraw. This is the third such kind of a meeting in the past year. One more is expected by the end of the year. Those from the area who were here were presented comments and questions to the village board and representatives from the Ginsburg Development Company. Unfortunately, like past meetings, citizen turnout was very low, and it certainly didn't help that no flyers had been sent out.
According to Carl McCall's office in Albany, any meeting of this magnitude is official, should have been published in the paper. Consequently, there's nobody here, and it's a 7 o'clock meeting. I'm embarrassed, and I'm really upset about it because this is my community. And
Ralph Cordisco and other attendees at the Waterfront Development Forum in the village of Haverstraw received information about this meeting by word of mouth, only hours before it began. The mayor of the village and Ginsburg failed to notify area residents about the session prior in the week. A representative from the developer said there was not enough time to print the flyers, which would have been in both English and Spanish. There seems to be a pattern from the board of not notifying residents about any such meeting and private meetings behind closed doors. This is becoming a major problem with the public at large.
This is bigger than the mayor, the board of trustees, and Mr. Ginsburg and his development group. This involves the entire village, so I think that we all have a say in it. We all should know what's going on. It should not be held behind closed-door meetings. This is something for the public to know about.
The turnout, there might have been maybe 100 people here tonight. There should have been 500 people here tonight. Getting the word out is the only complaint I've ever had about Ginsburg's organization is that they don't get the word out to the public of what's going on.
Rockland County.
The evening meeting, which was held at the Village Community Center, focused on where the village and the developer stand and how far they have gotten and what loose ends still need to be tied come late January. Representatives from Ginsburg presented residents with changes to the final environmental impact study for the development of the village waterfront.
The environmental impact statement itself does in fact address the overall redevelopment of the waterfront, which includes a number of the projects that were mentioned.
Most of the people who did manage to come to the meeting were from outside the area, and they didn't express concern of the development of the waterfront, but of the lack of communication between the village and the developer with Haverstraw.
But for me to sit here and believe that they didn't have the wherewithal to get flyers out and let people in the community know that this was happening, I'm sorry, but I'm not believing that. If they couldn't get flyers out in time, they could have rented a van with a speaker, drove around a couple of streets, and the people would have got here. Because I'm not opposed to development whatsoever, but I do know that you better dot your I's and cross your T's, because if that's a sign of them contacting community, you better get it in writing. Is there a possibility the village itself can do it because of the profit involved? This man is obviously doing it for money. I'm not blaming him for that. Or
10 seconds.
can you shift it off and get many, many bidders? Because then obviously if you got one person bidding on one piece of land, he's going to offer you whatever, the least amount he can. So I would say farm the project out.
All of this is here for Haverstraw, but we can share it and we can all grow and profit. And we can all employ more people. We can pay them better wages. To me, whatever little inconveniences or things, the growing pains that we might have to go through, it's more than worthwhile because of how we will all benefit.
We have in the village, there are only 2 public schools, 1 elementary, Neary, 1 middle school, Haverstraw Middle School. How many children do we expect to add to the schools? North Rockland, the high school, at this point is tremendously overcrowded.
One more thing, railroad. I know this because we were on the village board, and some of those freight trains sometimes are a half an hour or 20 or 30 minutes before they move. And if we ever had an emergency in the village, everybody would have to swim. I'm not trying to be funny about this. I think it's a matter of grave concern.
The ongoing conflict between trustee Ricky Sanchez and Mayor Bud Wassmer played into the forum when Sanchez wanted to make a statement to the public. The mayor tried to censor Ricky Sanchez by motioning the board to close the meeting. However, along with the trustee demanding to speak, some of the audience yelled out in support of Sanchez.
If GDC is truly working on a narrow profit margin, there is no reason why the true finances of the project cannot be disclosed, and why they are so desperately trying to silence the Board of Trustees by signing a confidentiality and non-disclosure agreement. And I ask the board members to tell the public today if you sign a confidentiality and non-disclosure agreement. Full disclosure and the ability to question GDC's plan is now even more important, as the community has just learned that the proposed site for the much-discussed ball field is a landfill. A landfill that will cost the existing taxpayers of the village of Haverstraw $750,000. That's right, $750,000.
Other board members followed Sanchez's motion and made statements of their own.
I'm probably the oldest guy, I am the oldest guy on this board. Maybe the oldest guy in this room. However, I go back to 1992 with this project. In March of 1992, I sat at a debate and I publicly said that this river that we live near is an unpolished gem. When I was asked what I would do, I said I would develop the waterfront to revitalize the village. I predict that in a few short years, people who live in Nyack today are going to be saying, gee, why can't we be like Haverstraw? We've got to get going.
DC has backed away from its commitment to the village, and the fierce political stonewalling and the violent reaction when I raised the issue of the amenities on October 17th at the village board meeting. It does not explain the conspiracy of silence, a conspiracy that has kept the public and even the members of the board from knowing the details of the waterfront plan. That is a separate question that must be answered, and I call upon all involved in the revitalization to once and for all fully disclose all aspects of the project and their involvement. If we do not have immediate and full disclosure, I will call upon this board to adopt the most comprehensive ethic code in Rockland, a code that will require every public official in the village to set forth in writing their financials, their business commercial, their real estate interest in the village, be it owned directly or indirectly. I will not permit a corporate or other business entity to disguise self-dealing. The public has the right to know that self-interest is not controlling the village's future.
Just under 100 people attended the public forum tonight here in the village of Haverstraw and learned much about the waterfront development project. Board members and representatives stressed many times that the public forum was optional. However, they wanted to learn what residents had to say. One attendee told us that Haverstraw is always getting the short end of the stick when it comes to meetings like this. People have one more chance to come to a meeting like this within the next few weeks to express their concerns about the development project. Hopefully this time, they'll be notified. In the village of Haverstraw, Kevin Jacobsen, Inside Rockland.
Inside Rockland encourages you to attend the meetings at the village of Haverstraw. For more information, you can call the village of Haverstraw at 845-429-0300 or fax them at 429-0353.
Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.